Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moans, and in this episode we're looking at the absolute carnage the SNP are causing by trying to build a road. I've been trying to build one for a while now. We're going to discuss the absolute disaster of a project to build dual carriageway between Perth and Inverness. So let's look at some of the history here. The road is quite a busy road, nowhere near obviously the levels of the M8 which connects Glasgow to Edinburgh, but connecting what is the capital of the Highlands, Inverness, and the centre of Scotland. It's a very, very busy road, and the road is I think about 40% of the traffic on that road is trucks and lorries, and moving goods and things like that, both directions, bringing produce from the Highlands and supplying the people of the Highlands. And apparently it transports about £19 billion worth of goods per year. So it's quite an important road. And the figures can go up quite a lot in the summer because obviously it's a beautiful part of the world, and during the summer periods the tourist industry takes a lot of people up north, and it's the easiest way to go to practically anywhere up north. There's very, very few places you'd visit up north that wouldn't involve part of your journey being on the A9, and the A9 is dual carriageway all the way from its start just outside Falkirk all the way up towards Stirling and then Perth. But the problem area is from Perth upwards, and it goes past Inverness, Dingwall and Thurso and stuff like that, but that bit Inverness to Perth is the bit that's the busiest route. It's also a dangerous road. Last full year 2022 there was 13 or 14 deaths on the road, so there's more than one death per month currently, which is horrific, and most of those deaths are caused by people overtaking. When you're doing that sort of journey, obviously you are going to probably overtake someone at some point, and with it being a single carriageway, that is notoriously dangerous, and unfortunately it's a single carriageway for the vast majority of it. So the section that they were wanting to upgrade is about 90 miles north to south, right up the spine of the country. Excuse me. And in 2007, that was when the SNP first got elected into Scottish Parliament, it was part of the manifesto that they would upgrade this to dual carriageway all the way, and again repeated in 2011. And on that manifesto promises, the promise was to have the road completed by 2025. That's 14 months away. So recently the SNP government have now stated that isn't going to happen. Imagine that. You've got 11 miles done, you've got about 77 still to go, and they've just decided today that they ain't going to hit it, which I think any normal person would have realised years ago they weren't going to hit it. However, they've declared this year that they're not going to hit it, but we're going to hit it by 2035. Now this is bollocks, right? It's just total bollocks of a project. They've done in 16 years 11 miles. The 16 years they've been in power, they've built 11 miles of road. Now you could argue, but they didn't start the project till 2015. That's actually correct. They didn't start building any of the roads until 2015. There's been two sections totaling 11 miles built since 2015. The last section was completed in 2021. So they've not completed any sections in the last 2 years, and those two sections took 2 years each. Now, that works out at 1.45 miles per year. A snail walks at 0.03 miles per hour. It could cover that same distance in 2 days. It could finish the whole job in 3.5 months. They're now telling us, if it isn't delayed any further, they'll have the whole project finished in 2035. So, what's that? 28 years from when they said they were going to do it to get it done. And you could argue, but we never started to 2015. Okay, well it's going to take you 20 years. 20 years to build 77 miles of road. a road that already exists, so winding it in those parts. And yes, I understand there'll be geographical issues along the way, but not for the whole 88 miles. It is total fallacy. Now, there's a bit here, it was beggars belief. Originally it was said that it was going to cost £3 billion. Back in 2007 it was a £3 billion project. Now, what they're saying is, it'll now cost $3.7 billion. But listen, I don't really have a big issue with that, considering the time. So going from $3 billion to 3.7 is not the end of the world. But this is the Scottish National Party we're talking about. If you look at the ferries and every other project they've been involved with, never comes on budget. So let's just take it as that. So they're saying now it'll be 3.7 billion. But although the original budget was 3 billion in this is great. This is absolutely Olympic gold medal standard mental gymnastics. What's her name? Mary McAllen. She says that although it'll be 3.7 out an initial 3 million, if you look at the 3.7 million in the true figures from 2007 and work that backwards, it's only costing 2.5 billion. So it's actually under budget. No. Your budget was 3 billion, you're spending 3.7. You don't get to work inflation back the way because you've overran a bloody deadline. That's just total. That type of thinking only lives in SNP world, isn't it? I mean, nobody else would think like that. It's 3 billion plan. We're going to spend 3.7 if we come on budget. But in real terms, it's only 2.5 because that's how much money that was equivalent to in 2007. Where did they get these people? Do you know what I mean? Where do you get people that actually, two things. One, think like that, and two, think others will believe that. I'll tell you get them in the SNP cult, because these people will believe anything. So why wouldn't you come out with stupid, absolute, crazy comments like that and expect people to believe it when your cult have been believing anything that you've said since 2007? But here's the odd bit about the figures, right? They don't stack up. And let me tell you why. The two sections that were built so far, we built the 4.6 mile section in 2015 to 17. Total cost, 35 million quid. The second section that we finished was a lot dearer. It was 96 million quid, and that was for 6 miles. So between the two projects, there's £131 million to spend, and we got 11 miles of road for that. Think about that for a minute. That works out at about £11 million per month. Sorry, per month, per mile. Therefore, if that's what's costing to build it, to build the extra 77 miles would cost about 900 million. Add that on to the 130 million we've already spent, that would give us a cost of just over 1 billion. Does it make sense? You see where I'm going with this? So, at the current running rate of how much it's cost us to build the 11 miles that we've already built, factor that into 77 miles more, then the project cost should be £1 billion. We're getting told today it's going to be 3.7 billion. Now, I understand you've probably left the difficult bits to the end. You know, you've probably went, see the bits through, you know, the highest part just outside Inverness. I think there's a summit, which is 1,400 metres above sea level, whatever. So that'd probably be a bit more difficult. I understand that some of the bits of the road might be more expensive than others. But what you're expecting me to believe, by the figures you've gave me, is the whole project's going to be 3 times as much. There'll be lots of the road that, you know, flat, straight, similar to, you know, what they've built in the first two sections. Probably the vast majority of it now. So I do understand there might be bits, because of engineering, logistics, that they might be more expensive. But how, with something that's the current run rate would cost you £1 billion to finish, are we getting told by Ms McAllen that it's going to be 3.7 billion? Is it me? But this is the thing that annoys me. I'm not a politician, I'm not a journalist. Every single day of the week, other parliamentarians are allowed to ask questions of the Scottish Government. And it takes a wee middle-aged, bald guy for Glasgow to go, hold on a minute, that's you're telling us the current run rate should cost £1 billion. Why is it 3.7? Why are the people that have been elected by the people of Scotland to oppose this gang, this cult, not asking these questions? Why are journalists not picking up and going, hold on a minute, so what you're saying is that bit cost, what was that, 35 million, 96 million, but now you're telling us 3.7 billion? Now there might be a perfectly legitimate, logical, common sense reason that a project its current run rate would suggest £1 billion would suddenly be £3.7 billion. There might be that, I'm not an engineer, I'm a civil engineer, I don't know, I wouldn't know where to start building a road. But I'm just a guy with a calculator on his iPhone that can work it out pretty damn quick and not be far off it with the mental arithmetic in my head, but that's because I was educated in the 70s and 80s. That's how I can count in my head. And I wasn't educated, fortunately, in an SNP cult environment where education is the worst in the UK. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you don't want people. I'm no rocket scientist. I'm no, degree level educated. And I can see right through you. Right through you and your figures, and your bullshit, and your buzzwords. Because that's all you do. You're a parliament full of people with, and what you do, these buzzwords you just throw in to suit whatever today's, you forget about them tomorrow and it's just another pile of shite and more buzzwords. These are incapable. You are incompetent. People that are competent do not need to use buzzwords and tell lies. They just get on with the job. And since 2007, you have failed to get on with the job. You should have just got on with the job and kept independence as a thing that you spoke about. Because if you had, in that, 15, 16 years, got on with the job, you did this road finished for one, and how many other projects? If you had filled your parliament with competent people and no mad sabre rattlers that just want to say, Westminster's bad. Westminster might not be perfect, but it's certainly not to blame for all your ills. Because you are incompetent. That's what you are. Anyway, there we go. The A9 disaster. So, and I'll leave you in this happy note. This is a shocking start from this debacle. If over one person per month has unfortunately died in the last 12 months of this horrific road that we have in Scotland, right up the spine of Scotland, and I'm not suggesting for a minute if the road was perfect, those deaths would be zero. That wouldn't happen, unfortunately. People die in car accidents. But it would be a lot safer. So by delaying this by 10 years, from your original promise of 2025, and if you actually abide by your latest promise of 2035, you potentially cost 120 people their lives with your incompetence. God have mercy on your soul. Anyway, that's enough. Finished. If you've got this far, give me a wee thumbs up. If you like it, you want to see more, hit the subscribe and the notification. But the most important thing of all, have a great day. Bye now.